guest. We've got Mark Dunkerley. He is the president and the CEO of Hawaiian Airlines. Mark, welcome to the program. Thank you for coming all this way to share your thoughts with us. I appreciate it.
Well, it's great to be here, Pimm.
Talk a little bit about what's going on in the airline business. We'll get to the fuel situation in just a second. But I mean, what about travel right now? Have we seen any kind of rebound in both economy and business travel?
Well, it's a really interesting question. What we've seen at the moment, I think, was a bottoming out of the market in an March-April timeframe. Since then, we've seen a little bit of recovery. It's been sustained, which is the good news. We haven't seen any further dips down. It hasn't been a particularly vibrant level of recovery, but any upslope's better than a downslope.
And what about the two different classes of travel? Because typically in the airline business, it's the front of the aircraft that really pays for the aircraft's profits. I mean, that's where most of the big margins are, right?
Traditionally, that's been the case. In fact, one of the striking things about this economic recession is that it has been the business traffic that has taken the bigger hit relative to the leisure traffic. And of course, as an airline based largely on leisure travel, this has been, relatively speaking, good news for us.
All right, let's talk about the details of what's going on at Hawaiian Airlines. I know that you operate a service inter-island, but also you go to Tahiti, you go to Australia, and you've got almost a dozen, about 10 gateway cities in the United States. What has business been like for Hawaiian Airlines?
Well, we've just had our third quarter earnings release. We've had 3 profitable quarters this year, which puts us a little different than the experience of most airlines in the industry. The biggest part of our business is our long-haul business, principally from the U.S. West Coast to Hawaii. We have some international destinations, some exciting places, Tahiti, Sydney, Australia, Manila in the Philippines, for example. We've seen a pretty consistent level of decline in demand relative to last year, but again, a situation that has largely bottomed out and started as a slow upslope.
Have you had to pull capacity out of the system? I mean, let's take it. Let's exclude the inter-island travel for just a moment. Pulling capacity out?
Well, capacity has been out in our major markets, and that's helped Hawaiian Airlines as an individual company. Hawaiian Airlines itself has been able to buck the trend somewhat. We've actually grown a little bit, a very modest amount, in a market that's defined by a reduction in capacity.
What about prices? Have you been able to maintain that pricing structure, revenue per available seat mile and such? Is it able to, even with the capacity pullouts, have you had to cut prices at all?
Well, where I think the airline industry has been very different than most industries in the United States is, of course, we've faced the same amount of revenue decline caused by the recession as everybody else, but we've had at least the offset of much cheaper fuel than this time last year. So the picture we look at the moment is in a traditional sense, not a particularly buoyant economic time, but at least we do have much cheaper fuel.
Well, I mean, it certainly is cheaper when you compare it to, let's say, $147 per barrel, even though it is right now $80 a barrel. What is fuel to you right now? I mean, at $80, can you turn a profit?
Well, at $80, we have been turning a profit, which is obviously very, very good news. I think for the airline industry as a whole, there are really 2 issues. What's the level of fuel, and then also how volatile is it? Because we have to make plans essentially 6 months to a year in advance, and so we do that based on the forward curve for fuel.
Have you been hedging at all?
We hedge. Most airlines hedge. We hedge really not as a financial instrument in order to hopefully make some gain. We hedge in order to reduce volatility.